Hi, sweet friend. Welcome. If you're new to this space, my name is Watercolors Smith, and I'm a watercolor illustrator, animation artist, and author. Thank you so much for tuning in. If there's any trouble with the sound, please let me know. Okay. All right, I'm just checking on my cameras and everything. I wanted to do this session. So aside from doing watercolor illustrations, if you're new to the space, I also do watercolor workshops. I host kind of creative experiences for people, and I wanted to offer this session to anyone that's maybe going through a difficult season. I know this time of the year can be really challenging and stressful and all those things. So I thought maybe this could be like your moment of self-care for this week or for today. Just wanted to share a couple of exercises that I turn to whenever I'm feeling a little anxious or stressed out, and hopefully you'll try them along as I do them. But if you want to try them later, let me know how that goes for you. I'd love to hear about it as well. Let's see. Before we get started, I wanted to take a couple of moments and take a few deep breaths together. So I'm gonna add this presentation, which is one of my most favorite animation types that I've done, is these breathing animations, meditation animations. So just follow along with the object on the screen for a couple of moments, taking those deep breaths in, hold, and then breathe out. Just a few moments following along. Hopefully you all can hear me okay. If not, please let me know in the chat. But other than that, just take a moment to, oops, there we go. Had to restart it. Take a moment, take those breaths in and out. All right. Thank you so much for everyone that's tuning in. Taking a few deep breaths in together. All right. So I'm going to remove this and let's see. Going to switch over to this view, which is on my table. So as I mentioned in the description, you can absolutely do these with just a pen or paper. I'm going to start with one exercise and show you how I'm doing it with these pencils. But I do want to say these exercises are a lot more fun with watercolors. I know I may be a little bit biased, but definitely try it out. All right. So the first exercise that I want to share with you is one that will kind of help you disconnect a little bit from any thoughts or worries that you may have at the moment. So this is called bilateral drawing, and it really acts as a great way to kind of get your brain engaged in what you're doing at the moment, like what's right in front of you. And because the brain has a hard time focusing on more than one thing, it will naturally start to kind of disconnect from those stressors or stressful thoughts. So grab two pencils. I'm using these fun pencils that have several colors in them because I love colors. So, and we're just going to start kind of in the center. and doing these spirals. So basically we're like mimicking drawing at the same time with both hands. But you could, it doesn't have to be necessarily a spiral either. You could kind of go into different directions. You can vary the pressure. An interesting thing about this exercise is that as you're doing this, you'll notice like it's hard for me to talk and do it at the same time because it requires so much of my attention. So that's why this is so great, because if you're feeling a little anxious or stressed out, this is a great exercise to do to kind of calm yourself. All right. So you can do this for as long or as short as you'd like. You'll have these very kind of random patterns, basically a bunch of doodles. And another thing that you can do here is once you're done, you kind of take a look at what you have and see if any types of shapes jump out at you. And then you can go in with your pencil and maybe add a couple of lines here, or like completely fill it in, kind of darken some of the shapes in areas. I will also try to do this with watercolor. So this right now is not watercolor paper, so I definitely would recommend you get watercolor paper if you're going to do watercolors. But I wanted to show you, so if you're doing this exercise where you're doing a bunch of like random lines and then you're trying to pick out different shapes, you can go in. So you could start out with a pencil, but then you can go in and fill in some of these shapes with watercolor. And then you can just kind of see what all jumps out at you. Switch out the color, maybe to something different. Yeah, so basically this is a very simple exercise that you can try, and it's essentially like you're creating your own sort of little coloring book or coloring sheet. And it's so simple that you can do it wherever, and really definitely recommend watercolors, but if you don't have them on you, you can still enjoy this exercise and this kind of like the calmness of it, because it'll force you have to pay attention to what's on your paper, and it'll immediately kind of help you get into that calmer state of mind. All right, but now I'm gonna use some watercolor paper because this is great. It works, but it's not as fun. Let's see. So I have my watercolor sheet, and I want to share with you, if you're familiar with some of the work that I've done or have been to some of my previous watercolor workshops, I really like to share this concept of the Enso circle. Enso is spelled ENSO, and the idea, it originates in Zen Buddhism. And the idea is that you take a deep breath in, and as you're exhaling, you're gonna paint a circular brush stroke. And the longer your brush stroke, the longer your breath. So follow along with the length of the brush stroke to kind of match the length of your exhale. Whenever you do that, so the longer your exhale will become, the calmer you'll start to feel. So that's kind of the end goal, is to kind of be super present. Take a deep breath in. So I'm gonna show you. Gonna take a deep breath in, And as you're exhaling, you're going to slowly press down, paint your circle. And for this particular exercise, I'm using a fairly large watercolor brush because I want the brush stroke to be very wide. If you have a smaller brush, it will still work. I encourage you to draw an even larger circle so that you can take your time with your exhale and that brush stroke. So let's see, I'm gonna do another color. Take a deep breath in. And as you're exhaling, press down. You can do a couple of colors like right on top of each other. So again, take a deep breath in and exhale as you're painting. And what I like about, so Enzo Circle traditionally is done with black sumi ink. And I thought doing it with watercolors is just like another beautiful variation of adding some color to that. So another kind of similar concept, but just wanted to show you the difference of, we did this one on dry paper, but it's really cool when you add a layer of water first on your watercolor paper. We're essentially going to do the same exercise, but you'll see the difference between the two. So I'm going to take a deep breath in, and as I'm exhaling, pressing down, taking my time. You'll see that because we have a layer of water first, this brush mark is kind of expanding and filling up the page. So it's a really kind of very flowy watercolor effect. So you can repeat this again. So you definitely have less control in this brush stroke as opposed to this one. But it's still like, there's no right or wrong way. It just depends on what you prefer. If you want to paint on dry paper, or if you want to do it on like adding a layer of water first. All right, so then another similar, so going in kind of in with the same idea, different way that you can do a similar size is, so again, I'm going to use watercolor and I'm going to add a series of dots that are going to go in a circular shape. And then after you do that, so you can do the same. So take a deep breath in, and as you're exhaling, let's see, I'm going to pick a different color for the second color. I'm going to use a green. So take a deep breath in, and then the idea is that you're going to start kind of, as you're exhaling, start to make these kind of doodle shapes with your brush. And essentially, like, you want to connect these little dots together. And you'll notice that by doing that, it takes a longer time than just doing the one singular brush stroke. And it also can help you kind of take that deeper exhale. So this kind of a little bit almost like tricks you into trying to take that deep exhale and make it last longer, because you're trying to kind of do these doodles all around. So definitely, like, this is another one you can absolutely do with a pencil. So if I show you, if I'm using this pencil here, I can do a variation on this as a square. So let's see, if I'm going to do a series of dots, So I got my little dots, and then you can also do, like, if you go into this, you know, one side can be an inhale and another side of the square could be an exhale. So take a deep breath in. And then make sure it lasts like the entirety of this doodle. And then as you're exhaling, again, you're trying to connect these little dots, but you're doing it in a very kind of very scribbly and wild, freeing way. Another deep breath in. And an exhale. So it doesn't matter where you start your, which side you start with first. You know, just kind of like remember in, out, in, out. So this is actually a very kind of common way of meditating. It's the box breathing. But I thought it would be fun to do, instead of just doing a little straight line, which you can do as well. You can do these little squiggle lines that connect the dots. The end goal here is, there's no right or wrong way of doing it, is just as long as you're taking that time to kind of relax and unwind and paying attention to what's in front of you. So let's see, I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna do it with watercolors. So let's see, I'm gonna do a square shape, just a series of dots. I'm gonna switch out the color for some extra fun. Deep breath in, then deep breath out. And you can, if you have a watercolor brush, you can vary the pressure that you're applying. So you can press harder or press just a little bit, and you'll see these different brush strokes that you'll get. You could also do this and fill in the square as well. So just kind of be mindful, like the whole point of these is to help you just get out of your head and onto the paper, so that you can have a moment of relaxation, creative relaxation. So I don't know about you guys, sometimes I really struggle with just closing my eyes and meditating, because, well, it's hard to shut off your brain sometimes. But if you have like a visual kind of tool in front of you, if you're able to use, kind of have that visual cue, it will help you redirect your attention. So that's all we're doing here, is we're directing attention from what's in our head to what's on the paper, and kind of trying to follow along with that. Let's see if there's any questions. If any questions, please let me know. I'm trying to keep an eye out for the chat. David, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda, and Yolanda. Thank you so much for joining. I so appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you are able to also kind of doodle along with me as I'm doing these. If not, at least maybe it'll inspire you to do one later, because it really does you really just need like a couple of moments to yourself, like even 5 minutes of these kind of doodles and making different shapes, especially if you can use both hands at the same time. It will really help you get into a calmer state of mind. And definitely be mindful, like, as how you're breathing. Like, if you're the goal here is to make your breaths, your exhales, as long as possible, because that is like the best way to kind of get into that calmer state. Hi, Trent. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. I want to show you one other exercise that you can try as well. similar, again, they're all like kind of variations of the same idea. So this one is drawing out your breath. So I'm gonna grab some color. So let's see, you're gonna, as you're taking a deep breath in, you know, paint a line that lasts as long as your breath in lasts. And then as you're kind of turning around, pressing, you can press down if you have a brush. And then that's your exhale. And you can continue on, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. If you want to have a lot more like colorful fun with it, you can switch up. And hopefully, like by the end of this page, your shapes ideally would have increased. So you want to make sure, or like strive to kind of take those deeper breaths in and a deep breath out. So this is again another visual way of kind of seeing like how quickly am I breathing in and out, or how long does this last? And it's another great way to kind of center yourself and bring yourself into the present moment, because you have to pay attention to what's in front of you. Thank you so much, Yolanda. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful that you were able to tune in, and David as well. I really hope like you guys give this a try, because it is so fun, and it's so it's meditative and also very easy to do. Like you don't it takes the pressure off of trying to like have to draw a particular shape and make sure it looks like the shape that you're drawing. It's just this is not even the end goal here. The end goal is to relax and get into that more calmer state of mind. And that's what I really love about these, is you can have fun with them as well. Like you can incorporate lots of different colors. You can try different shapes. Just the possibilities are truly endless. All right, so if anyone has any questions, you know where to find me. Send me a message. I'm happy to share everything that I know, especially about watercolors. Super passionate about that. If you haven't noticed it yet, if you have any questions about what supplies you use, or about any particular watercolor technique, happy to share those as well. And if you do end up trying this later, I'm really curious to hear about your experience with it. I've been doing this for the last few years. Honestly, it came about during the pandemic because of the obvious stressors, and it was just, I noticed myself playing with colors, and it was just so soothing that I wanted to share that with others, because really you can still enjoy watercolors and art making without necessarily like trying to be perfect, draw perfect, or I just truly believe we are all so creative that if there's any like small way that I can nudge you into that direction, then that's what I'm here for. Oh, thank you, Amanda. Yeah, I hope you'll try these sometime. Let me know how that goes for you. Let's see. Yes, David, a moment to escape. Absolutely. This is exactly why I wanted to have this brief, like sort of lunchtime session. Hopefully it will bring in just a small moment of calm, if nothing else. Because I think just we all need that. David is asking if I have favorite colors to use, blues and greens. I do, whenever I do these, I use blues and greens a lot because they are very soothing colors. And that's kind of what I'm after. So absolutely, you can use any color that you want. I just like to do kind of lean into the blues because to me they're super calming, and just like from a psychology of colors point view, it is a kind of like, it's very much like nature, right? Like we see the greens in the forest and blues in the water, so it's kind of like that's the vibe that I'm going for. So hence the color choices. Oh, Brigitte, thank you so much for joining. All right, guys. Well, this was it. I just want to, let's see, a quick recap before I go. So you can do these. Definitely try to do these like doodles with one, or try your non-dominant hand, or do both hands at the same time, and then try to find different shapes and maybe color them in. That's a really fun one. And then you can kind of doodle around a circular shape or a square shape. You can make an Enzo circle, which is really fun as well. And then you can draw out your breath with this one. And you can make this like as long as you want. Definitely, like, the end goal is to just get into that more like relaxed state of mind. Yolanda is saying doing this outside will be really soothing. Yes, I totally agree. If it's not too cold, if you're able to enjoy some time outside, even better, because I just really think that being around nature is super healing, and it's just super soothing. So if you can add that watercolor aspect to it, definitely recommend it. So thank you so much for sharing that. All right. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Didn't want to make this super long. As long as like you, if you don't have a lot of time, you can just try one of these exercises. All you need is 5 minutes and something to draw with, and a piece of paper, and it'll be great. Yes, and David, you can definitely keep it in a journal. That's a great idea too. If you have like a whole sketchbook, which also recommend, if you need any recommendations for sketchbooks, I'm here for you. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday and a wonderful weekend. And I'm just, sending all of these calm vibes. I'm sending them your way. So if you're going through a difficult, challenging season, just please know I'm rooting for you, and it's gonna get better. It will. We have to believe that. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day.